Hello students, let us discuss an interesting and a heart-touching novel, Untouchable by Mulk Anand. Mulk Anand, the novelist, short story writer and an essayist and a famous critic, was born on 12th December 1905 in Peshawar, now in Pakistan. He was the third among 5 sons of Lal Chand, a coppersmith, who renounced his ancestral profession and rose to be a head clerk in the Dogra regiment of the British Army. His mother, Ishwar Kaur, hailed from a peasant family from south central Punjab. He had his education at Lahore, London and Cambridge and took a doctorate in philosophy. With such academic excellence, Anand never tried to become a professor in a university. Instead, he shifted to writing. One of his early books was Curries and Other Indian Dishes. After all, as Norman Douglas once said, curry is India's greatest contribution to civilization. His other early writings were Persian painting, the Hindu view of art and the golden breath. Anand was influenced by the modern independent movement in India. His early novels reveal a sense of strong force and rush to reach the goal. As a novelist, he wanted to say all that he wanted to say as quickly and effectively as he can. The first 5 novels appeared in the following sequence: his first novel, Untouchable, published in the year 1935, Coolie, 1936, Two Leaves in a Bud, 1937, The Village, 1939, and Across the Black Waters, 1940. Anand, in a special preface to the second Indian edition of Two Leaves in a Bud, published in the year 1951, gave a hint of the fire and the drive behind his novels. In talking about the pariahs, the downtrodden and the bottom dogs or the slum dogs, he has travelled in an untrodden path and finally succeeded as a writer. His other writings include The Sword and the Sickle, The Barber's Trade Union, The Big Heart, The Tractor and the Torn Goddess, 7 Summers, Private Life of an Indian Prince and Morning Face. Anand's novel Untouchable was published in England with a preface by E. M. Foster. Mulk Anand, Raja Rao and R. K. Narayan are considered to be as the founding fathers of Indian English novel. Mulk Anand is the greatest and the most prolific of the Indian writers in English. He has about 70 short stories to his credit. He always defines the physical appearance of his characters in a way that insists not much on their aesthetic appeal as on the degree of their strength, muscularity and athleticism. Anand is more concerned of how a man is in society. He is a novelist with a mission and his novels are all written with a purpose. He is the first novelist in English to choose as his raw material the lower class life of the Indian masses. In Untouchable, Coolie and The Big Heart, he uses little imagination and keeps close to ground realities. He does not hesitate to throw floodlight on the darkest spots of Hinduism and Indian life. Untouchable by Mulk Anand is his first novel. It is an intellectual discourse on the illusion of work and untouchability. The central issue of his novels is the philosophy of work as depicted in Untouchable, Coolie and The Big Heart, which remains as metaphors of human suffering till date. His stories provide a poignant commentary on man's inhumanity to his fellow beings in the past and to some extent even in the present. He focuses attention on a number of customs, traditions and social evils of the Hindu society in the 1930s, more particularly the evils of the caste system. Untouchable deals with a burning topic, that is untouchability that prevailed in ancient Indian society and which is still prevalent in some places in India. The story of Untouchable was inspired by the author's childhood memory of a low-caste sweeper boy. In all his novels, Anand's primary concern is the individual's interaction with society. Anand does not only foreground social ills and evils, but also suggests some necessary social connectives. Anand plays a strong role in addressing the evils that plague contemporary Indian society. Baka is the protagonist of the novel. Baka is picturized as a young boy who is lazy to get up from his bed in the morning. The novel opens by picturizing young Baka. The discourteous and insensitive call of his father wakes him up. He shouts at Baka to wake him up to recommence his daily work. "Get up, O you Baka, O son of a pig," calls his father. His father's shrilling voice alerts Baka. He gets up, he shouts at him to get up and attend to the latrines or sepoys will be angry. Initially, Baka turned a deaf ear to his father's words, but later he ignores them impatiently. He continues sleeping cozily under his blanket with his head buried in his arms. Now there is an ear-splitting and a shrilling voice. It is no more his father's voice, it is the voice of Havildar Charat Singh. This time, Havildar Charat Singh, the famous hockey player of the 38th Dogras Regiment, shouting, "O Bakya, O scoundrel of a sweeper's son, come on and clean a latrine for me," made him get up, yawning and rubbing his eyes. He chided young Baka. "Why aren't the latrines clean, you rogue of a Bake? There is not one fit to go near. I have walked all round. Do you know you are responsible for my piles? I caught the contagion sitting on one of those unclean latrines." Baka very cautiously responded, "Okay, Havildar ji, I will clean one for you immediately," and he goes on to his duty. After finishing the task of cleaning latrines for Havildar Charat Singh, he begins to another work of disposing rubbish. Later, he spends his time with his sister Sohini at breakfast. He enjoys eating whatever is available at the breakfast. Baka, after performing his operation, returned to his house feeling thirsty. There was no water. Sohini, his sister, ran to a nearby well with a pitcher in her hand to get water. The untouchables were not allowed to collect water from the wells that is being used by the higher caste Hindus. They have to wait literally for somebody to show mercy on them and to give them a pail of water. Sohini sits there near the well, as she is not supposed to touch the well because people felt that the well will be polluted. They were neither allowed to collect water from a nearby brook for the same reason that they will pollute the water. Sohini waits for somebody to show mercy on her. Kalinath, the temple priest, agrees to draw a pail of water from the well to Sohini, and in the process he feels attracted by her youthful charm and beauty. He asks her to come to his house to clean the courtyard and the latrine. Sohini goes, and Kalinath takes that as an advantage and tries to violate her chastity. She cries and screams for help, and in turn Kalinath shouts telling, "Polluted, polluted and polluted." Baka reaches there. He sees his sister Sohini in trouble. He sends her off from that place and he goes to collect bread pieces from the barracks. Baka reaches home disgusted in the evening, and he tells his father, "We are called as the dirty because we clean their dirt." Laka then tells his young son Baka about Bhagwan Das, a Hakim who treated Baka when he was not well. Laka, true to his generation, accepts untouchability, and he says that the Hindus are superior. But Baka does not want to accept that, and he wishes to fight and destroy the caste system in Indian society. In the afternoon, Baka attends the marriage of Ramcharan's sister. Ramcharan, the washerman's son, Chota, the leather worker's son, and Baka forget the caste differences that prevail among them and share sugar plums and also plan to play hockey in the evening. Though in the beginning of the novel Havildar Charat Singh shouts at Baka, he treats Baka affectionately and gives him a new hockey stick. While they were playing, a little boy was injured and Baka lifts him up and takes him home. But Baka could not escape the treacherous punishment from the boy's mother, telling that Baka has polluted her son. Baka could never understand how saving a human being is equal to polluting a boy. Finally, when he returns home, Laka shouts at him for passing away his time and throws him out of the house. As a rule, the reader expects the novel to end here, but it does not. The novelist tries to offer three solutions to Baka's agony and frustration. Firstly, Colonel Hutchinson, the Salvationist, asks Baka to return to Christianity where there is no caste. There is the presence of Mahatma Gandhi, who addresses a crowd, and Baka attends the meeting. Mahatma Gandhi says that casteism is blot on Hinduism. Then finally, Baka meets the poet Iqbal Nath Sarshar and he makes him think. Iqbal Nath Sarshar, the poet, says only when scavengers resort to a change in their profession, they will free themselves from the clutches of the caste system, and a modern sanitary system with flush will bring revolution. Then the sweepers can be free. Baka is more optimistic about the future. He goes home to tell all the incidents that happened on that day to his father. He wanted to talk about Mahatma Gandhi. He wanted to talk about many other reforms that will definitely come and prevent this casteism in the Hindu society. At the end of the novel, Baka is picturized as a person who has a lot of optimism and only waits for a bright future. M.H. Abrahams writes, the character is a literary genre, a short, usually witty sketch in prose of a distinctive type of a person. The genre was introduced by Theophrastus, a Greek author of the 2nd century BC, who wrote a lively book called Characters. Characters are the persons in a dramatic or narrative work endowed with moral dispositional qualities that are expressed in what they say, the dialogue, and what they do, the action. The grounds in a character's temperament and moral nature for his speech and actions constitute his motivation. A character may remain stable and unchanged in his outlook and dispositions from beginning to end of a work, or may undergo a radical change either through a gradual development or a result of an extreme crisis. Whether he remains stable or changes, we require consistency in a character. He should not suddenly break off and act in a way not plausibly grounded in his temperament, as we already have come to know it. So, we have characters like the round character and a flat character. A round character is generally a character who is changed at the end of the novel or a story, and a flat character, in spite of all the circumstances, a flat character remains the same from beginning till the end. Untouchable is Mulk Anand's finest and most controversial novel, in which he conveys precisely the matter of social discrimination. One of the strengths of the novel is his characterization. He characterizes Baka in a very heart-touching and in the most effective manner that is possible. The characters in the novel are commentary on man's inhumanity on fellow human beings through centers of power, caste, and marginalization. In Untouchable, both character and environment are taken into account, and the action develops through the interaction of character and environment. It became Anand's aim as a novelist to focus attention on the sufferings of the downtrodden and the untouchables. His novels are sometimes called to be epics of misery. Although normally resident in England, Anand was tempted to respond to the impact of some significant events in Indian society. It was a time when India was fighting for its independence. It was a time when we have the Quit India movement, the Salt Satyagraha and many other movements coming up in fighting for Indian independence. He wrote in a way to clarify the fact that India's social problems can be attributed to the caste structure. He described an untouchable like Baka, set right at the center of the design of Malays and marginalization that held India in its vicious grip. Although born in one of the higher castes, Anand as a child mixed very freely with the other boys that are there in his father's regiment. He had an opportunity to play with all kinds of people both in his childhood as well as in his adolescence. These early playmates and friends became, with the necessary imaginative attitude and amendment, the protagonists of his first novels. Let us shift our focus to the protagonist of the novel, that is Baka. Baka lives in a dark, dingy, one-roomed mud cottage with his father Laka, brother Raka and her sister Sohini. He is a motherless boy. Baka is an individual, lovable, thwarted, sometimes grand, sometimes weak. He is thoroughly Indian. Baka was modelled on a sweeper boy known to Anand in his childhood. He is described as an intelligent, able-bodied and a good worker. With a broad, frank face, glistening high cheekbones, quivering lips and a graceful torso. He is a member of the suffering class of the Untouchables. He goes about his job wearing the humility customary among his kind. He is conscious of the oppression he is facing every day, and there is a desire in him to revolt against it. He does his work so efficiently that he is called by everybody in the village. He remains clean even though he has to clean the dirt of Hindus. He has a strong fascination for English clothes and English way of life. The insults and abuses of the high caste Hindus infuriate him. He is not passive or static as his father. He wants a change. He wants to revolt against the disease that is the casteism in Indian society. He wants to attain self-realization during the course of the novel. Anand's description of Baka at work is very interesting. Let us have a look at it. He worked away earnestly, quickly, without loss of effort. Brisk yet steady, his capacity for active application to the task in hand seemed to flow like constant water from a natural spring. Each muscle of his body, hard as rock when it came into play, seemed to shine forth like a glass. He must have immense pent-up resources lying deep in his body, for as he rushed along with considerable skill and alacrity from one doorless latrine to another, cleaning, brushing and pouring phenol, he seemed as easy as a wave sailing away on a deep-bedded river. What a dexterous workman, the onlooker would definitely tell. And though his job was dirty, he remained comparatively clean. Let us now discuss about Laka. Laka is the father of Baka. He is Jamedar of the sweepers. He is dirty, old and sick. He constantly thinks about himself and his comforts. He is never bothered about the motherless boys and the little girl Sohini. He is a feeble, peevish and a self-centered man. Early in the morning, he wakes up Baka with abuses. In the beginning of the novel, Laka wakes Baka calling him, "Oh, ye Baka, scoundrel, son of a pig, get up and clean the latrines, otherwise the sepoys will be angry." The second time when Baka is still in his bed, again he comes and shouts at him in the shrilling voice. So, in the beginning of the novel, we get to know clearly about Laka as a father who did not take care of his children properly. He is peevish and very short-tempered. This is seen in his ill-treatment of Baka when Baka returns home after the hockey match. Centuries of servility have made him tame and passive, incapable of any resentment or revolt. He regards the high caste Hindus as superior to them and his masters. He does not have that fire that burns in Baka's soul. He never thinks to revolt. He cannot speak to his children without an abuse. Laka symbolizes the common untouchable man. Sohini. Sohini is the daughter of Laka and sister of Baka. She is young and beautiful. She is modest and hardworking. She has to take care of all the household responsibilities besides cleaning the latrines of the high caste Hindus. As an untouchable, she has to wait for her turn to draw water from the well. It is one such occasion that Gulabo, the washerwoman, starts abusing her for no particular reason. It is Sohini's beauty that evokes jealousy in Gulabo. The priest of the temple Kalinath offers help to Sohini and he is ready to give a pitcher of water to Sohini, but at the cost of her modesty. He gives her a pitcher of water and asks her to come to his house to clean his courtyard and the latrine. Innocent Sohini goes, and in the process of cleaning the courtyard, Pandit Kalinath tries to violate her chastity. She immediately screams, and then in return Kalinath screams telling polluted, polluted, and he calls almost the mob and the crowd moving in the street, and finally Sohini is projected as a person who is helpless because she hails from the low caste society. Now let us move on to the minor characters. Though Raka is a brother of Baka and brother of Sohini and one of the sons of Laka, Raka is considered to be as a minor character. Raka is a brother of Baka but is quite different from his brother. Raka symbolizes the unclean life of the untouchables. He never washes and therefore his entire body is dirty and repulsive, particularly his hands and his face. He wears a tattered flannel shirt, grimy with the blowings of his ever running nose. Raka is not only dirty but also lazy. He leaves his house early in the morning lest his father sends him to work. It is only occasionally that he is sent to work in place of Baka. He is an untouchable in the real sense of the word. Colonel Hutchinson. Colonel Hutchinson, the chief of the Salvation Army, a missionary organization which propagates the teachings of Christ and tries to win over converts to Christianity. He is enthusiastic and he has a lot of passion and zeal to convert most of the low caste people into Christianity. He speaks about the religion Christianity where there is no caste. He speaks about the Christ, his kingdom and the heaven. Colonel Hutchinson is of the view that if the missionaries of India wanted to succeed in their efforts, they should come near to the downtrodden Indians. The dress he had designed for himself is a funny mixture of English and Indian custom. A pair of white trousers, a scarlet jacket and a white turban with a red band across it. He is very serious and sincere in trying to convert people to Christianity. Like Baka, Hutchinson too in a way is an outcast. Havildar Charat Singh is an interesting character in the novel. Charat Singh is a Havildar in the army regiment posted at Bulasa. He lives in the barracks where Baka goes daily to clean the latrines. Our first impression of him is that he is ill-tempered, perhaps his piles have made him so. He even invites the sweeper boy in the evening to give him a brand new hockey stick. When the cook brings tea to Havildar, he offers the same to Baka. Baka never gets this treatment from any other Hindus or high caste people. So Baka is happy with Havildar. He shows a lot of affection and kindness towards Baka. If Pandit Kalinath and other caste Hindus symbolize hypocrisy, cruelty and injustice, Havildar Charat Singh shows that there are people of progressive views even in the Hindu society. Mahatma Gandhi. The skill of Anand lies here. With superb skill, Anand fashions the image of Gandhi as he knew him. The little man swathed in a white shawl, with his big protruding ears, expansive forehead, quixotic smile and a determined chin. Mahatma says that he regards untouchability as the greatest blot of Hinduism. But when Mahatma asks the untouchables to improve their own lot by giving up drinking, Baka is confused and fears that Mahatma is drifting away from the main issue. Other characters such as Pandit Kalinath represent hypocrisy. Kalinath is a priest in a temple. In fact, he is expected to be very pious since he is very close to the deity in the temple. But unfortunately, he is not a pious man. He tries to violate the chastity of the innocent girl Sohini. When Sohini screams, he shows his hypocrisy once again and shouts, "Polluted, polluted." There is one more woman character in the novel, that is Gulabo, a washerwoman. She is also a minor character. She is envious of Sohini's beauty and she feels jealousy. Then poet Iqbal Nath Sharshar. It is through his mouth that the novelist tries to give a solution to the problem, that is untouchability and the problem of casteism in Indian society. After briefly understanding about the author, the plot of the story, the plot of the novel and characterization, after a thorough understanding of both major and the minor characters, do you have any questions?
Ma'am, I have a small doubt here. As you said, Hinduism and socialism and Gandhism cannot change the untouchable.
Yes.
So why did you say like that? Because especially in these days, so some socialism, some works can change, especially this kind of untouchable.
Yes.
So I hope definitely we can change. There is a chance to change that kind of society.
Yes, you are right. Marginalization can be definitely changed. The difference between the haves and the have-nots can be definitely reduced if all of us live together in the society. This is one of the probable solutions that the writer gives to us at the end of the novel. Now let us move on to the second part of the novel. Hope you have understood about the author's introduction, his characterization and plot of the story. Thank you.